you streaming to us?
Uh, and welcome everybody to a Friday production of Tilt Esports League of Legends. Today, I'm Slayer, and I'm joined today once more by Storm on the casting couch, watching Tilt Wins once more as they take on Week 3 of Titan Sentinel against Iceborn Bums.
Yeah, gonna be an exciting mashup tonight. Got some names I think people will recognize. Chudsting up there in the top lane for this Iceborn team is actually basting. Potato Senpai, someone I think a lot of us would recognize. Same with Jed and LL Cool J. So these are all names I recognize from various times throughout various Masters 100 leagues. Patty, the only person here I'm not really that familiar with, but Uh, this Ice team are just have played their only one series. They're currently 0-1 that they lost 0-2 in the first week. Weren't
Mhm.
able to pick up a series win, but had that reschedule, I believe, or something like that for themselves in week 2. But they're here to play Tilt, so we'll be able to cast this and bring the action to you guys.
Yeah, and definitely a very exciting series to look for. As you mentioned, so many names in this, as well as Tilt, pretty solid week 1 showing out of them. They did get the 2-0 against Dorado. Tilt doesn't lose to Dorado, as everybody knows in the audience out there. But quite a rough week 2 showing for them. Did go 0-2 in two games that were sub 30 minutes, pretty rough showings across both games in that series. So, hoping that they are able to come back this week with a new mental clear head and be able to give us some new League of Legends this week.
Yeah, hopefully they can give us some stuff to cheer about. Just waiting here a little bit before we hop fully into draft, but you know, are you excited about the new champion coming out, Locke or whatever his name is? I think he looks
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool
mean,
for.
I think design-wise, it's very, very cool. I believe everybody is saying he looks like that one JJK character. But I mean, I think overall a pretty good champion, and honestly, one that we might see witnesses pick a lot once it becomes available. Because I think like Locke as a champion is gonna fit Indigo's playstyle really, really well. So, um. I expect to see a lot of it once he is enabled within comp. As everybody knows, the normal stuff for competitive in terms of like champions when there's new reworks or new champions or a major rework, they're typically disabled for 2 weeks before they're allowed to be played in competitive. So once that cooldown has gone through, expecting them to pick that up. But without further ado, draft is ready, so we will transition over to that. And so it is going to be Iceborn Bum starting on the blue side of the map with Tiltman on the red side. Um, Excited to see what kind of counter picks they can draft up this week. Last week didn't really make that great of a use out of the red side. Didn't really get any huge lane advantages out of their counter picks. So we'll see if they can do a better job of that this week. As first ban is going to come through for Iceborn. And Tilt, it's going to be the classic Aatrox and Bard, two champions that are very, very comfortable champions for Weatherneck and Oral, respectively. And from the side of Witnesses, seeing Pantheon, probably a jungle ban, Seraphine, a very strong champion in the meta right now, flexible between multiple roles, between mid, ADC, and support. So quite a nice ban to just get out of the way, and then Senna taken out by Iceborn as well.
Senna isn't necessarily a champion I think of when I think of KTL, but just enables so many different shenanigans, and Oral's definitely comfortable playing a lot of the stuff that you want to pair with Senna, so I think that's definitely a good ban. A little sad to see the Urgot ban away from Chud Sting there in the top lane. They definitely played like some wild stuff in week 1. They had like a Vayne game and stuff, so
Gotcha.
might see some flexes coming up there towards the top lane, but is the Caitlyn first pick here for the side Iceborn?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the Urgot ban, pretty good for the side of Tilt because there isn't much from Sky's pool that can really perform that well into the Urgot, so it just makes sense that he gets taken away. Yeah, Caitlyn first ban, very, very interesting from Iceborn to just pick that champion up early. I'm not a super huge fan of it personally, but it is good if you are able to draft around it and be able to utilize the strength of Caitlyn to get that pressure, get those tower plates. It is going to be the response, though, of Sejuani Yone for Tilt Witnesses. Like a pairing that we saw worked very, very well for them in week 1.
Yeah, very much so. I feel like they just might go back to that week one thing, play the Ziggs in the bot lane to diversify their damage pool, get
Hmm.
some sort of AD fighter again in the top lane. And Iceborn hasn't really drafting great answers into it. They don't have, like a very great set of, dedicated side lane champ. Uh, while Aurora can match Yone in the side lane, isn't like the best in the side lane. Very much wants to be more towards team fights, things like that. Same with the
Yeah.
Xin Zhao.
But
Um,
as you mentioned, it is the Ziggs picked up for KTL, so very much leaning toward that week one draft that they were really able to see on. So it's nice to see them go back to something that works. It's proven to work, and we'll see if they're able to pull it out again this week and make it work as well. The Zinzao pick, though, quite nice, honestly, if you're expecting that, because you do negate so much of that Ziggs damage if you just put up the Crescent Guard. Most of the time, Ziggs will be standing outside of it, so pretty hard for KTL to be able to find poke on the Demacian fighter. But I'm sure they'll be able to make it work. We see Karma and Vayne as the bans for tilt witnesses. So Vayne, as you mentioned, is that weird potential top laner that could be picked. And then like just Karma, good with the Caitlyn. Just makes up for a really oppressive bot lane. Iceborn as well, banning a top laner and a support a piece as well.
Yeah, Tilt gonna lock in Rakan here to give themselves some more engage options, some follow-up to all of the CC that the Sejuani brings. Another melee champion as well, even though he's basically ranged. He counts as a melee for that Sejuani E damage as well. Iceborn gonna take the El Clasico bot lane. It's Morgana Caitlyn, a trail as old as time, 4,000 years of CC if you can land either that route or the trap. And they're going to take Orin for themselves here, too, to round out their comp.
Yeah, and the Morgana, not a pick that you see super often anymore, but this is one of those rare spots where it could be pretty decently okay, plays pretty well into the Rakan, good support matchup in that side. But the only concern that Iceborn has to be worried about with this Morgana is the fact that the Black Shield can be so easily negated by KTO just throwing one singular bomb. And it'll break the entirety of the Black Shield, and then the CC can just come through and bombard them regardless. So yeah, I mean, they're playing very, very oppressively on the bot side, but it's really hard to be able to get push and find tower plates against something that clears waves so easily, such as Ziggs.
Yeah, I don't really like it that much. I mean, they're fully committing to it, right? They've picked a weak side top laner for basting or chudsting there. They're the Ornn up there in the top lane to give them that kind of ability to start fights and things like that that they needed themselves, but they don't have a winning topside matchup because they didn't draft for it. The jungle will be better there for Patty instead of Big Fisher. You will be faster on that clear as the Zinzao and things like that and have more early access, but it's just the case of I don't know where you're going, but it's like you're playing for bot lane, right? You're playing to try and get Caitlyn Morgana ahead, but you're doing this into Ziggs. You're doing this against Rakan, who's ridiculously hard to gank with his multiple dashes and things like that. So
Hmm.
I feel like this draft might have been a little bit of a mistake here from Ice. I feel like there was different things they could have maybe banned away from Tilt or something like that if they wanted to go towards this Caitlyn Morgana, because they obviously did if they were first picking it for themselves.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, it is a pretty odd draft for the side of Iceborn. Definitely more in the favor of Tilt, I'd say, for this particular draft. Like I mentioned, it's you really want to establish a lot of push, a lot of control, dominate lane with this Caitlyn Morgana pairing, but like you said, the Ziggs Rakan makes it so hard to do that. Really hard for them to dive this pair or even like get the push in the first place because of just the wave damage that Ziggs offers. So unless any straight dark bindings find their way onto KTL or Oral throughout this lane phase, I think it's gonna be pretty hard for this bot lane of Iceborn to get anything accomplished.
Yeah, and just kind of like the way to like go with that is like I don't feel like they have a mid laner that can necessarily like roam and set up dives very well. Potato Senpai playing the Aurora. While the champion does provide like great dives, the push isn't necessarily like that incredible for her, right? Into Yone and some stuff like that. Like I don't feel like you're just able to freely use your cooldown abilities on the wave. The retaliation should be so high that I don't think you just get free push for this lane. That I don't know if Iceborn has enough tools to really go all in on these bot plays. So yeah, I definitely feel like this tilt draft seems like big winning to me. I'm not really a big fan of playing Ambessa into Ornn. I feel like this is just kind of one of those nothing burger matchups of like, sure, as Weatherneck in the top lane, you are going to get ahead and you are going to get like a slight lead there, but I don't know how much you're really going to be able to transition into it.
Mhm.
It's just more you're picking like a melee, you're picking some more follow-up CC and things like that to go with your Sejuani and things like that. So I feel like that's more why we've picked that rather than for our lane itself.
Yeah, definitely I agree with that assessment. I do think there's a pretty easily readable like team fight game plan from the side of Tilt Witnesses, right? It's pretty much just everybody goes in and KTL stays back and throws bombs. So we'll see if they're able to execute that when the team fight stage comes through. This team, one that is pretty deadly in the team fight stage if they're able to get that point without being that very far behind. But without further ado, that's enough talking for us about the draft. Let's move on over to the Rift.
Yeah, and as we're getting in, just kind of things of note, summoner wise, it is the Flash Ghost there for Jed and Exhaust for Cool Jace. So there is no heal in the bot lane.
Mhm.
There's no cleanse either, I think, for this Caitlyn, which seems kind of crazy to me into all of the CC that you have. I mean, I guess you have a Morgana, but huh, I
Yeah,
don't know
Jed
about that
putting
one.
pretty much all of the fries in the basket, relying onto his support of LL Cool J's. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a pretty hard game for Jed to play out, given just the draft and the sheer amount of dive that Tilt has to get on top of his head. The Black Shield is not going to be of much help to him, so they're hoping that the Glacial Augment, like damage reduction, as well as the exhaust damage reduction that comes on over the top as well, to be enough to help Jed be able to pump out a little bit more damage before he will inevitably fall in these team fights. But pretty standard stuff here from both of these teams. With the bot lane of Iceborn looking to take a couple of trades here early on. That is where they're going to have the advantage the first 3 levels before KTO gets those cooldowns and a couple of components in his belt. Doesn't really have that much influence over the wave quite yet, as a lot of abilities are going to go stray for Iceborn, but they're able to get this wave push regardless. Junglers actually pathing opposite ways, though, this particular game, with the Zinzao pathing toward this Caitlyn and Morgana to make sure that this lane is able to scale and uh, come into this late game strong.
Yeah, kind of interesting to me why Big Fisher is not going to path bot lane. I feel like you'd want to
Mhm.
try and fight for this 3v3 and defend your Ziggs down here in the bot lane, but instead electing to go for this topside path is going to get spotted here on a ward that I believe was placed down here by Potato Senpai in the mid lane. So they know where the Sejuani is. We'll have to see if there's any sort of adjustment here from Patty and the jungle of Zinzao if they want to go for a different roam or look for something. They do just have a free bot side scuttle crab
Mhm.
to take.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. It's very weird that Fisher's batting toward the top side. Like you mentioned in draft, pretty much a nothing burger matchup in the top lane this game. So very weird to see him not path toward and protect this bot lane that I would say is honestly like Tilt's pretty clear like win condition. If this Ziggs like can stay and stabilize through this lane, and the Caitlyn doesn't get super far ahead, it makes the game really hard for Iceborn to play out. But yeah, I mean, trades coming along all across the map. The bot lane of Iceborn falling quite low, but Indigo in the mid lane is also taking quite a lot of damage from Potato Senpai. As Chudsting also falling really low, uses that charge to get out of there.
Yeah, here's
Fisher, though,
Fisher on the
looking for a gank
wraparound.
in the mid lane. Arctic Assault is not going to find its target. A nice across the veil by Potato, and will get out without having to burn his flash there.
Yeah, that's pretty big because you can see Indigo is super low and is running the Ignite this game. There is no TP on this zone to get back to lane, anything like that. You can see KTL using his TP down towards the bot lane to make sure that he is able to keep that wave clear going. Gets some of those more mana components in his inventory as well. Not quite able to afford any AP to get that wave clear going, and is down a fairly significant amount of CS currently.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the way that this early lane is supposed to go for the side of Iceborn. But KTL being back in lane now is going to be able to even that up. I believe that is a cannon or a cannon wave coming in now.
Chud Sting?
Might not be, but yeah, I mean, Weatherneck just demolished Chudsting, and it's a solo kill first blood in favor of Witnesses.
Bro, that guy just straight up inted.
Hey, I don't know.
I don't know
I don't
what that
know.
was. That guy walked into
Mhm.
Weatherneck, literally, like walked into
Yeah.
his face at like 150 HP. What are you
Yep.
doing there, bro? I'm also gonna say, why have we started our game with cloth refillable and then built a Doran's item? I don't get this as Orn people. Just start a Doran's item. They're good. Just stop trying to do this weird cheese shit. It's just not worth it.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. I'm not an expert on top lane, so I'll leave that assessment to you. But yeah, I mean, Jed picking up an early vamp sector here, so looking to just be able to stay in lane and like sustain off of the minions that he's gonna be hitting with KTL inevitably doing a lot of damage through the chunk. But very interesting to see the vamp sector purchase because it doesn't typically build into anything that you want to build early on Caitlyn, so you'll just be sitting on it most likely. Will delay that big first item spike of whatever he decides to go. So we'll see how that ends up impacting the spot lane as Indigo making a nice trade onto Potato Senpai here with the Fate. With the Soul Unbound, will snap back. Pretty even trade in the mid lane. Was Oral though caught by the Dark Binding? Jed's not able to find the Yordle Snap Trap though, as KDO finds a nice chunk onto the Caitlyn.
yeah, I have to see how much this Vamp Scepter uses. Like, I'm wondering, the only item I can see Caitlyn building with like a Vamp Scepter is Bloodthirster,
Bloodthirster,
right?
yes.
That's
Because
it.
Blade of the
And
Ruin King is pretty bad on Caitlyn, but the
yeah,
problem with Bloodthirster is like it's pretty hard to build because of the components, and then also doesn't give you that crucial crit that you want to start building up with your items. So I'm assuming he's just gonna be sitting on it. Patty is starting up this dragon. Missing pings are gonna come out onto it. Oral is aware of it now, walking onto it, but nothing they can do with Fisher on the other side of the map. Patty's super loaded. They could potentially look for a turn here to pick off the jungler of Iceborn, but nothing coming of it. Potato's gonna get a nice chunk onto Fisher as he walks into the river.
yeah, just gonna take that Consolation Scuttle Crab, it looks like, and then restart our clear. We do have our ult unlocked now as Indigo. We had that Fate Unbound or Fate
Speed,
Sealed.
speed sealed. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can look for some sort of play here with a combo. There is a roam here from Oral towards the mid lane. There's the
Ooh.
flash.
Arctic Assault and the Glacial Prison's gonna find its mark. Fate Sealed coming through over the top as well. And the snapback from the Soul Unbound will claim its mark. Indigo picks up his first kill of the game.
Yeah, but we might have a fight going on here in the jungle. Cool Jace has roamed
Mhm.
up here, so this is a 2v2. Fisher gonna get the smite, and that's all he needed. Nice.
Yep. And Tilt stays winning on the map. Kill coming through on the mid lane and taking away the enemy team's blue buff as well. A really good job from Oral on his roams to make these plays happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also worth noting that this is like actually pretty useful. I'll
Ooh.
hold that thought. Weatherneck looking for the solo play.
Yeah, doesn't find the Sundering Slam though to find and secure the kill, but nonetheless is gonna burn Basting's Flash. So a pretty worthwhile trade here in the top side for Tilt Witnesses. As LL Cool J is here in lane, Oral right behind KTL though, so is gonna cut away any threat that this Morgana would have posed.
Yeah, you can see that was the black shield going down there, just blocked the satchel's charge from KTL there. Um, I'm hoping and praying that our LL Cool Jace is putting our points into Black Shield second, and we're not putting any points into W.
Mm-hmm.
We
You
haven't seen that yet
hope
because
not.
we are just level 5, but
Inigo, though, getting Audacious charged on by Patty between worlds comes out as well. And the wind becomes lightning is going to secure the kill. Iceborn picks up their first kill of the game in the mid lane.
yeah, pretty big pickup for them. This seems like a very strange thing to me. Indigo here not going for Bork or anything like that, just
Yeah,
straight up
has the
going as
Zeal
Zeal.
double dagger, so could be that Phantom Dancer
Good.
potentially as the first item picked up for the Yone. As
Yeah,
KTO just
that's
bombs the mid wave with his ultimate, and then waddles back over to the bot lane, picks up a lot more CS for him there.
yeah. I mean, he's still down a fair amount, right? We can see that CS
Mhm.
lead for Jed is still pretty high towards the bot lane, and we have built a pickaxe as Caitlyn.
So yeah, I mean, normally you do build pickaxe on Kaylin early game because it does
Yeah.
build into that Hex Optics one that you typically want to
Okay.
go. I really hope he's not building this into a Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was just getting
I
worried
really
about.
hope not. Um, But yeah, I mean, Indigo trading here in the mid lane has the third Q. It is going to run out though as he looks to cast it. So Potato Senpai actually gets a pretty good trade. Indigo's going to be forced to reset here again. Still, like, remember, he still doesn't have TP this game. Is actually going to stick around as Fisher's taking the grubs. Um,
Yeah. Can
yeah,
also
I
see
mean,
pretty
Patty commits
bad
to the
situation in
reset
the top
though.
lane. Orn is committed to thrift shopping this game. We've decided that
Hmm.
we needed Frozen Buckler and we need this Thornmail component, the Bramble. I have absolutely no idea why we are doing this.
Fisher, though, looking for something quite aggressive. Patty here, though, level disadvantage for him as the Glacial Prison comes out. Call of the Forge God. Public Execution's gonna not find its mark, and now the Crescent guarded Zinzao gonna go forward. Fisher falling super low, and so does Patty. So both junglers falling down. Both kills going over to the top laners as Weatherneck potentially looking to find more. Is not gonna be able to do so. We'll just walk back to his wave.
Yeah, can see Cool Jace is up here looking for this
Yeah,
play, but
spotted on the ward now, though. Knows that Weatherneck doesn't have the ultimate or the flash. Pops the ultimate and the exhaust as well is going to be enough to secure the kill. Basting's
yeah.
going to finally take it. It's going to be a third kill, evening up the score at 3 apiece for Iceborn.
Yeah, and Oral was well looking for Cool Jace. We had seen all those spam pings towards the bot lane, knew that that player wasn't there,
Oral, though,
but is
pops the quickness going forward onto Potato, but Indigo just has no health to follow, super duper low, and will have to concede as the bomb comes in over the top, but not quite strong enough to do anything significant to Potato. Will just end up crashing this wave and taking a reset of his own, as Oral looking to secure this cannon for his mid laner and hold it around.
yeah, what a great support player Oral is.
And the cannon dies
Uh,
anyway. He
yeah,
gets the
never
XP, though. He
mind.
gets the XP.
Okay. I hope he's able to keep up in that situation
Mhm.
because Indigo so far is
Dragon is started up though for
okay.
Tilt. No bomb for KTL and no quickness from Oro, so it could be a little bit sketchy as the Black Shoe gonna block so much of the CC onto Patty, and now Big Fish are in danger, rooted up by the Dark Binding, is gonna be able to walk his way out with the Protoplasm proccing, but Fisher is super low now, gonna make this super hard to play on this Dragon, as the Dragon did reset though, so Patty is gonna have to start this from full HP. KTL gonna walk away from this, so is Fisher as Oral caught up by the Dark Binding between worlds, popped by Potato. Not enough damage to take down the Birdman, and Oral will just use the Grand Entrance to make a grand exit.
Okay. Little concerning there for a lot of things. I mean, I feel like as Tilt they didn't have all the push needed there, right? Indigo
Mhm.
wasn't with them. And while his Potato Senpai was able to roam over, I think that was the major catalyst for them resetting and taking off from that. But that's the first two dragons of the game picked up, and with just 3 kills, there isn't a gold lead whatsoever here for Tilt. That
Yeah.
these kills are tied now for the side of Iceborn, so gonna have to see what's able to be done in the mid game. First item's kind of coming out. It is that Phantom Dancer rush for Indigo, which is
Oh,
very
Call of
odd
the
in the
Forge
top
God.
lane.
Soul Shackles come out too. Call of the Forge God will not find its mark, though, as the Dark Binding going to find its way onto Weatherneck. But Fisher is here to support. Arctic Assault's going to find its target, and the Glacial Prison to Chud Sting will fall. Shutdown going over to Weatherneck.
Yeah, you can see that we have finished our Frozen Heart now, which seems pretty high value into Yone and this Ambessa.
Hmm.
Messes up a lot of the timings of Ambessa, right? Because you want to use those auto resets in between your abilities to get all those enhanced autos off and get your energy back. So have to see how much practice Weatherneck has dealing with this. It's not something you run into all that often, but
Or
other major
potentially
first
on a
items.
flank, though. Jed respecting that,
Yeah.
knowing his support's on the other side of the map. But walking up now, Aura could potentially look for something. Does not have the quickness to threaten. Jed will just be able to farm this wave pretty peacefully under his tower.
Yeah, can still see that Cool Jace on a lot of roams has rejoined back into the bot lane now. I have to see. Imagine Jed must be on a lot of gold. He's been on this pickaxe buy for a really long time. So yeah, 1,600 gold can definitely back and buy a BF sword or whatever he just so desires. We're hoping it's a BF sword. I'm guessing. We really just hoping this isn't Bork.
Yeah, I
rush
mean,
on our Caitlyn.
ideally it would be like a Noon Quiver and Longsword buy because you do want to get toward that what's it called? Hex Optic C44
Okay.
for the Caitlyn is gonna be yeah, the Noon Quiver and the Longsword picked up
Okay.
there for the Caitlyn. So building not Bork, thankfully, to
Yeah.
everybody out there. We're pretty happy that this Caitlyn actually we're on Tilt side, so maybe we're pretty sad that Caitlyn's not building a Bork. As Inigo goes forward with the Soul Unbound, doesn't find the Q though onto Potato, and will just have to snap back with Patty and Cool Jace here to show support for their mid laner. As Inigo has a pretty good wave state now, though. Potato actually going to cancel the back. Definitely looking for something mid here with Cool J still around. Fisher could potentially look for something to, is going to turn his eyes toward this Rift Herald, though.
Yep, Tilt just playing for the top side objectives so far. Looks like this should be totally free for them. Chudsting not able to really contest Weatherneck still. Just kind of looking to slow attrition ward out, but hard to do when your opponent buys that Eclipse. Cool Jace also just in the bot lane. Kind of him and Oral have just been roaming most of this game. Just
Mm-hmm.
taking turns, looking for
Okay, Teal,
things.
though, caught up
Oh,
by the Dark
trying to
Binding, and a
kick.
Ghost is going to be popped by Jed and taking so much damage, but dodges the Hex, the Peacemaker from Jed, and that's ultimately going to be what helps him live.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of shocked Jed wasn't able to get that kill. Just doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
access to the ace in the hole. That would have definitely secured that kill if that would have had been up. Probably just used it for
Yeah.
poke because Caitlyn ult feels absolutely worthless for most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And yeah, I mean, that's the difference that the pickaxe makes here as a fight. Will be breaking out in mid, so we're gonna hold that thought. As quickness popped by Oral, Patty CC'd for so long, but Indigo finds Potato in the back line, and now Fisher is actually gonna take that kill with the Glacial Prison. Patty flashes out in danger still, and the last stab will do it. Ignite takes Patty's life away. 2 kills going over to Tilt.
yeah, big kills going through. This is also first tower going to go down here in the mid lane of all
Hmm.
places. Indigo really putting in a ton of damage into this tower. I'm
Yeah.
not expecting this from what we had seen of all the resets Indigo had taken. I felt like he was losing this lane really hard, but has mined a whole bunch of plates.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was talking about earlier before that entire sequence broke out, that is the difference that the pickaxe made. Spending that 900 gold on that extra little bit of lifesteal is going to be what ends up saving KTL's life, because if that was a completed Hex Optics, that would have been a very, very dead Ziggs. So, nice of Jed to delay his first item to keep our ADC alive. As Cool Chase has been doing a very good job, though, has been consistently finding very important bindings throughout everywhere on the map. At that dragon fight, the big reason why they were able to win it so successfully, even if they didn't get any kills, the chunk outs that came out of Jace finding those bindings, just so crucial. As KTL is just going to be able to satchel this tower away, will not need to waste the tower or the Herald charge. So we'll get another charge out of this Herald, as
Oh,
World
Battle
is
Herald?
the Battle Herald coming through from KTL is going to bounce out in not a great place, though, as Fisher forced to flash away between worlds, connects on to 2 in the call. The Forge God finds 3 as well, and now Fisher will be the first to fall here in this fight. Shutdown going over to Jed, so gold going where it needs to be for this Iceborn team, as it
Yeah,
sets up the third dragon as well.
Indigo's
No
in the
jungle in the.
pit.
Oh, Indigo dashed on, though, knocked up by the third strike of the 3 Talon strike. And Cool J's the one engaged on by Indigo with the Fade sealed, as it's honestly looking like a pretty winning fight for Tilt here, as Patty slain by the Dragon. Chudsting in the pit will be forced to flash out. Potato cannot do anything here to alleviate this situation. Tried to get that kill onto Indigo, tried to go deep for it, but wasn't able to find enough damage to do so. As Tilt also will just take resets of their own, a lot of gold in their pockets, as this dragon is a very big op canceling Weather next base right there.
Yeah. I, I mean, that was a crazy play for Indigo to go in there and know that he had the
Mhm.
damage to do that. Didn't have flash there, had the ult and went in with it. I thought for sure that was going to be a dead Yone because we had flanked at the improper time. I feel like that was just a case of, the Herald and everything. We just had to wait a little bit longer for Indigo to get into position. Fisher just trying to make sure he's able to keep this tempo up. We are completing these supportive kind of jungle items here, and it looks like it's round two. Fight is about to break out any
Yeah,
second.
as a lot of these crucial ultimates back up on the board. The only one missing, though, are the important ones for Tilt. The public execution, Fate Sealed, and Quickness are all down right now, as Iceborn has absolutely everything to play with. As the Dragon gonna be started up by Iceborn, zoning commencing as Fisher rooted up by the Dark Binding, and that might buy enough time, but it's only Patty hitting this dragon. The rest of the team zoning away. Glacial Prison gonna find Jed, though. That's the crucial member. Black Shield is good. Call of the Forge God not gonna be returned, but the public execution finally comes back up, and Weatherneck's gonna be able to find his way into the backline. Jed has cleaned up 2 kills, though. Indigo steps into the trap, but it's not going to be enough for Jed as Potato tries to flash forward to fix the situation for Iceborn. It's going to be a 3-for-3 trade at the end of the day. Potato getting run down by Indigo, but will have to snap back. KTL's going to try to chase after here. Does not have the TP for Potato, so is not going to be able to get out of here unless he is able to fully channel this reset here. And Tilt might just let him do so, as Indigo, though, dashing forward. Cool J's, nice Black Shield to negate the knockup from the Q3. And Dragon, once more, not going to be taken, so we'll be going to a round 3 here.
Yeah, round three, and the bell's gonna get rung. Ding, ding, ding. I'm so confused why KTL didn't chase Potato there at all. Maybe he was afraid for his life that he could get burst out or something. Didn't want to give away his
hmm
shutdown, but notably, Indigo still hasn't died in one of these fights. Has been playing on the edge really well. Survived pretty much every engage, and it's just that case of if Tilt can sync up with him. Big Fisher, again, had to walk through that trap line kind of unaided, right?
hmm
And didn't have the support of his team when he landed all of that crucial CC onto Jed, but this dragon just given over, no fight. How boring. Boo,
Yeah, I mean,
Iceborn.
especially given that your Caitlyn has just finished that fight with that like after that fight picked up the Infinity Edge. So very interesting to see them not go for the fight with your Caitlyn doing so much damage last fight. Spikes with the base after dying, and they just don't contest it. I guess they felt that they weren't in position to do so, and are just gonna opt to clear out the jungle instead and get their waves in advantageous state for this Baron. But gold in favor of Tilt now after the sequence of plays.
Yeah, and I feel like they definitely kind of want to have a gold lead. This comp, while it isn't the worst towards the late game, I don't think it's, necessarily the strongest 5v5 team thing. That if we get to that 5-6 item mark, that I feel there might be an advantage here for Iceborn. This Ornn, I think, will just become so much more of a problem as this game goes on for them.
hmm
But we'll have to wait and see if this game is going to keep going later. Baron has spawned, and that's a great way to end a game. We do see that there's a
Yeah.
fight up towards this top lane here.
Yeah, Potato getting engaged on as Inigo is also fighting Judsting down here, as the bomb gonna come through, not gonna be enough to take down anyone, as Patty forced out to use the Crescent Guard, goes back in, gets the healing from the Determination, will be enough. Weatherneck gets the ace in the hold blocked for him by Big Fisher. Fisher says, "Get down, Mr. President," and nothing will come out of it ultimately, just a lot of summoners and ultimates used across the board, but no kills going in the direction of anywhere.
Yeah, and reset's just going to kind of come through, I think, for a couple of people towards this top side here. We can see Fisher taking his, building towards whatever his next supportive item is. Maybe it's a locket or something like that. I feel like those are the components for that. Could also be the Jack Show as well if he's looking for a true kind of capstone item. Have to wait and see on that term, but it is good to see that Indigo is still winning in this bot lane, even against Chudsting, who has built pure armor, things like that. That is a place where you need your Yone to win and be able to pressure to get plates.
hmm Yeah, definitely. As Inigo opening up toward this top side now, good lane allocations for Tilt, knowing that the Baron is the play on the map. Inigo not having the TP to join the fight, but Weatherneck does, as Potato could potentially be looked on here by Oral. He's gonna get rooted
Oh
up by the Dark
no.
Binding, the Oral losing so much health, forced to burn the Mikhails on himself, but now the quickness going forward as Potato Senpai will go between worlds, and it's another great route by Jace to find the binding onto Inigo to make sure that he can't go forward. And it's a binding onto Fisher this time, but no follow up. And the Sejuani way too tanky to make anything out of that, as they need to even out this mid wave to make sure that they're in a position to fight. Weatherneck, though, spotted out by Chudsting as Tilt make their exit.
Yeah, the Mikhail's cleanse was crucial there. I feel for Oral, probably really needed that. Would have taken another full rotation, which maybe would have made his designs. It's just interesting to see that, while Baron is such like obviously the play that can really explode this
Oh,
game
Fate
forward.
Shield, though,
Oh,
blocked by the Spell Shield, and now Soul Shackles proc by Jace. Jace just explodes from the Soul Unbound snap back as Indigo picks up his 5th kill of the game.
yeah, I guess when you have Infinity Edge and Phantom Dancer giving you that 100% crit as Yone, it doesn't really matter if you land the Qs, you can just auto people to death.
Yep. Yeah, and having so much attack speed as well, not having basting there to be able to block out and reduce the attack speed with the chill that the Frozen Heart provides, just able to mow the Morgana down literally. And Jace dies with both summoners as well and through the soul shackles. So really nice job by Indigo to find the solo kill.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can see Weatherneck start doing something towards his bot lane. Looks like he's just kind of endlessly cycling towers into Chudsting. He's not really getting any chip damage on this tower or anything. While it is the correct macro play because he has access to teleport, there's no real like win for tilt happening right now, but we are setting up for this dragon, right? You can see
Yeah,
that
and
the
it's a
vision is
split
slowly
map
getting
here
rotated.
as Tilt so much on the bot side with Iceborn looking on the top side of the map. Indigo forced to burn out the Flash Ace, and the hole will do a sizable chunk of damage. Tower is going to go over to Iceborn, but that's the ghost out of Jed as well. So a very big defensive summoner spell or well attacker summoner spell as well sometimes, but the cross map play gonna be looking onto Chudsting now as Arctic Assault's gonna find its target called the Forge God comes through. The charge into the tower is good to get the knockup, but will not be able to return the call to the enemy team. He is gonna live the ordeal, but the tower will fall from the dive as a result.
Yeah, I'm just also weirded out. Why is Iceborn so afraid to fight? There's a really
Oh,
deep
Weatherneck though
flank
keeping
TP.
behind here. Potato is so low as Jed gets engaged on by the public execution. The snapback will be enough to kill him as Shoal Shackles here coming out for a cool Jace. It is going to be enough to take down Weatherneck here in just a little bit. Second Infernal Dragon going to fall over to Tilt on the other side of the map as well as Chudsting does burn his teleport too in a situation where we probably didn't need to use it. So that's going to go to waste as well.
Yeah, that's a really weird play here. We can see Tilt was able to claim that second dragon for themselves while that play was happening in the top lane as well, so winning on multiple points of the map. Um, you know, it is Iceborn kind of equalizing the gold in a lot of ways. They did pick up 2 towers that they needed. They got some, other components for themselves here, but it just feels like this is a winning position right now for Tilt. Nice is really afraid of them. They're not willing to fight a 5v5 yet, just yet.
Yeah, and given like this map situation as well with like Jed having the upgraded Infinity Edge from the Ornn Masterwork, but yeah, I mean, like you said, just unwilling to take fights so far and having only 2 items right now compared to KTL's 3 as well, even with the 3 kills that he's been able to pick up, very very crucial. But it's the focus from witnesses that's really good as well, right? Indigo's Fade Sealed was the one to burn out Jed's flash, but Weatherneck with the dashes from the passive is able to just chase through and take down the Caitlyn. So it's a really, really good job of Tilt to just focus the main carry in Jed and making sure that he can't get any damage out in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, if Jed can auto, that means that Iceborn's winning, right?
Hmm.
There's no sustained damage
KTL losing
really.
so much health from just 2 abilities out of Potato.
Okay, maybe that's why we didn't chase that Aurora back then.
Yeah.
Like,
Mid tower super low for witnesses, but a lot of people on this side of the map as Oral flashes forward with the quickness, gonna find a charm onto 3 and Jed taken down once more with the fate sealed from Indigo snapback to secure, and now fight going on more. Potato caught out here, noted by the mid laner and the jungler as the Call of Forge God gonna find only Weatherneck, but going forward here, gonna trade 1 kill on to the Mbessa, but it's not gonna be quite enough as it's only the Ornn and the Morgana left standing for Iceborn. Gonna be a Baron call here for Tilt Witnesses.
Yeah, Indigo's still alive, so you have your consistent DPS for this. Despite KTL being basically out of mana, there is a honey fruit there for him to regen back up and be able to toss some more spells onto this Baron. While this is on Vision, with Patty, Potato, Jed all down, there's no way that this can get contested. And this Baron's going to set up into this third dragon timing window here for
Hmm.
Tilt. So hopefully they're able to kind of explode this gold lead. We'll have to track how big it is. It's 3K currently, and we'll have to see how big they can grow this.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, right, the target focus in the previous fight was just so incredibly good, but this time, even better, right? Jed doesn't have the flash this time. Indigo knows that, finds the Fate Sealed onto the AD carry. Jed not even able to get any autos off in that fight from the CC layer, the quickness into the Fade Sealed into a quick death. So just a really great job in the team fighting here for Tilt Witnesses so far.
Yeah, and that's all on Oral, right? He landed that flash quickness. He had everything down to make sure that Jed couldn't do anything. And Cool Jace, despite having the black shield in there, it didn't really do anything. The Fate Sealed and the quickness had both landed already to get that CC down on Jed, and that's why we were talking about this game feels really, really
Hmm.
hard to play as this Morgana.
Yeah, and a part of that too is just KTO throwing bombs over the top instantly enough to break the Black Shield, so not able to find its way to block out any of the crucial CC. So, and also building like Mandate and Leandri's one more of a damage focused build that's Weatherneck potentially caught out here, uses the plug execution, get out, but the Between Worlds from Potato will be enough. 10 kills now for the side of Iceborn.
Yeah, and they haven't really lost anything that major there. That is that tower going down in the mid lane. We can see that tier twos are pretty much all gone except for this top lane tower. But the tier threes, the inhibitor towers, haven't been touched yet. 35 seconds till this dragon spawns, and we still have over a minute of our Baron buff, but nothing huge in terms of a gold lead so far from this Baron power play just yet.
Yeah, definitely. As potential team fight coming out through in the mid lane, everybody postured for this, but Tilt is a man down here, so could be potentially pretty dangerous. But Indigo is so incredibly strong. 3 items on his inventory now with the Vamp Scepter and the BF Sword as well. So making his way quickly toward a fourth as Weatherneck TPing in here, has the public execution up really soon. So could potentially look for a play here as Potato shows himself in the brush. Doesn't get that much damage off, but Fisher goes so low with the damage layer and the CC layer of Iceborn, and now the Between Worlds pop, but not finding a lot of damage as Indigo, a really great Fade Seal, find its way onto 3. Not enough to kill anybody though, as now Weatherneck's going to be the first to fall in this fight, and it's so many low health bars for the side of Iceborn, particularly for the mid laner of Potato Senpai, and it's going to be the third dragon looking to go the way of Iceborn as they start it up, and Tilt looking to just concede this and push in the mid wave with the Baron minions.
Yeah, definitely a fight of inches there. It felt like it was so close in so many different ways from that fight going back and forth. Crucially, they were able to stop that second part of the Call of the Forge God, the kind of ram forward. That would have spelled their doom, but so many people on blinking low health bars there for Iceborn. But Tilt as well. I feel like this is kind of that thing of this is getting towards late game, right? How are you able to kind of get into the bush here? While Big Fisher is really tanky, this is a lot more of a supportive build on this Sejuani, right? You aren't like the
Hmm.
unstoppable super tank that you can sometimes see, and can see these headshots are really coming through from Jed, really kind of able to do a ton of damage. Potato as well, having a lot of burst now that we have our Rabadons completed.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, for sure, like the way that Tilt was playing their previous fights, when Jed wasn't able to hit, it was looking so incredibly winning for them. But that last fight where Jed was able to just find so much damage off the back of Cool J's hitting a couple of nice roots, and Tilt just wasn't able to find the AD carry of Iceborn, and that's what led to a winning fight there for Iceborn as they look to take control of the space now for Baron. But that's not up for another. a minute and a half. They look to push in this midway, but like we mentioned in the draft, KTO with these bombs clears out the wave so incredibly fast. We don't have Baron boosted minions. It's going to be so hard to siege anywhere where he is, as Jed takes a pretty bad base area. Fisher opts not to throw out the Glacial Prison, though. So Jed is going to be able to just walk out scotch-free from a
Um,
situation where he honestly should have been just very, very
Patty,
dead.
Patty's
As
dead.
Oh, yeah, Patty is dead. Call of the Forge are gonna
Oh,
find 3. Crescent Guard though is good. Blocks a lot of damage, but the Fade Seal gonna find 2. Inigo takes the first kill of the fight. Goes legendary. Doesn't have another dash to go over this wall quite yet. Inigo will find this, or Weatherneck will find the second kill though onto Chudsting, and that's the 2 frontliners of Iceborn. Down is gonna make
that's the
this
game.
next fight super easy onto the last 3 members alive. Inigo, yup, finds another kill onto Jed, and it's just gonna be Potato and Cool J's here to defend the Nexus. But these 2 members aren't really that strong, as Weatherneck though gonna fall super low from the Between Worlds, is gonna end up falling, but they don't have enough in the tank to defend this Nexus. Going forward, trying to find another kill, just pad up those stats as Fisher though falling low now. Next is gonna be though going in the favor of Tilt Witnesses. A pretty interesting sequence there to end the game with Patty just being caught out, and then the ensuing fight and damage that followed. The 2 frontliners of Iceborn falling leads to a super easy end for Tilt Witnesses.
Yeah, that is just a brain fart, bro. That is a I've not been paying attention to the macro type thing because you saw Weatherneck clear out the bot side, was pushing it out. The entire enemy team was mid, and you go for your Krugs and you start them. Like that's insane to me. I mean, that's just a lapse in judgment that comes out, but I feel like MVP's there, despite Indigo having a really rough early game, he bounced back incredibly well. He landed so many Fate Unsealeds that, really saved the game. Towards that, like those fights around the third dragon where he was able to get those picks and get those kills and really kind of cement his lead. I think he's the MVP for Tilt.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that sentiment. Like you mentioned, the rough early game, but ultimately the one that ends up topping the damage charts as well. We saw him in a couple of unfavorable situations, particularly near that top tier 1 tower when he takes the tower and then also finds a solo kill onto the Morgana on top of it as well. So Indigo just doing a really good job of navigating through these team fights, finding his team advantages, hitting those really nice ultimates, and just doing a lot of damage overall, a lot of pressure, and a great job by Tilt. A little bit of a rough bumps along the way, especially in the top side of the map, particularly. But they made it through this game 1, blew up the Nexus, and we'll see you when we're back for game 2. And hello everybody, we are back with game 2 draft. The sides have been swapped for this one, so we'll have witnesses on the blue side of the map and Iceborn on the red side. It was a pretty back and forth game 1, but Tilt ultimately ended up coming up on top, and now we're here for game 2 action.
Yeah, Iceborn just kind of fallen a bit towards that draft in that second, half that they had the team fight going. It looked like it was going to be so good. And then they exited their death ball and everything fell apart for them. Have to see if they're able to kind of keep that together or if they're going to decide if they want to go towards some sort of different playstyle. They are on the red side now, so they can look for some more lane advantageous things and maybe play an early game comp, but that's what they're looking for. Tilt gonna ban the Vayne on blue side here in the first rotation, so I believe that's our only different ban so far.
Yes, it for sure is. Could be looking for something like an early potential top laner here in the
Over.
first rotation if they are doing the Vayne ban. So we'll see what ends up happening, as it's going to be Nocturne picked up for the side of Witnesses, a champion that Fisher is very, very confident on, one of his most comfortable champions, but in the B1 slot has a lot of options to be countered.
Yeah, I feel like you just pick an AD carry and a support. That means that you can't just freely dive in and kill this guy over and over again. Maybe you want to take away the Orianna. That's kind of the classic mid lane pairing that has been gone through. But instead, we're going to take a premium champion for ourselves here with the Rumble. That's going towards top lane
Yeah.
because we have picked our jungler and the Wukong here to go with it. That's going
Yeah.
to get a
Wukong Rumble is a pretty good pairing. The knockup from the Wukong, just enough CC to make them stand in the equalizer just that little bit longer. So gonna have a lot of value out of that. But Galio is the pickup for Witnesses. It is a champion that we see answered into Rumble quite a lot. So honestly, if there was ever a potential of Galio going mid here, I would say it was quite unlikely. Hui, the pickup, could potentially be a flex between Inigo and KTL. A champion that KTL has been playing a lot in solo queue recently, so I wouldn't be particularly that surprised if he were to take it in the ADC role this game. Gonna be the Ari pick coming through for Iceborn, though. I think they probably think that that's a Hui mid lane.
Yeah, probably. I also don't really like Ari here because you already have a really high damage, top laner in Rumble who's trying to get early game leads. I feel like Ari doesn't necessarily like give you guys some of that real damage. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of synergy in between the two. I feel like there was a lot of picks that were better there, but it is
Yeah.
quite good into Hwei, so that's why I guess they've taken it here. Gonna have to see
Yeah,
what they're gonna.
Iceborn though are
Yeah.
very, very indexed on this Hui being in the mid lane. They've banned out 2 ADCs and now they go Xayah as the ADC pick for them. So honestly, that would make a really great value if KTO was to take the Hui now for the bot lane, because Xayah's life is so miserable when she's outranged, and it is a Silas pick coming through. So that means it's Hui ADC and Silas mid lane. Yeah, I mean, Xayah is just gonna have a really miserable time in lane, being consistently outranged by the Sway throughout the entirety of the game. Gonna be the last pick coming through is the Thresh from Oral on the B5. We'll see what Iceborn has to answer for their support.
Yeah, Rakan's gone, right? Like
Yeah,
Xayah value like went down, I think, a lot because of that.
Renata.
Okay. That's a champion I
Very,
haven't
very
seen in
interesting
forever.
to see that pick here. It is pretty good for the dive uh of the Nocturne Galio Silas combo, but outside of that, she'll struggle a lot in lane. She's not gonna be able to get a lot done, and the bailout, like she doesn't. I mean, I guess like her bailout target would be just Xayah and Wukong. Other than that, like doesn't seem to have that much value in my opinion in this particular game. Uh, and KT will probably be able to just snowball this ball lane out of control, having the insane range advantage that he does. The only concern for me for Tilt Witnesses is, will they run into a similar problem than that they did last week, where they drafted a pretty similar composition of this and then just ran out of damage, didn't have the damage to win the war of attrition, and ultimately ended up losing. So we'll see if they're able to just turn it around here.
I mean, the difference here is that Iceport doesn't have a front line.
Mm-hmm.
Your front line is a Wukong, right? Like, as
Yeah.
long as the game isn't going like crazy out of control, I feel like the mid game for this should be fine for Tilt here. Um, I mean, Indigo is set up to be the hero again. There is some like premium chef's kiss like Silas ults to steal. This is also why I'm confused by the Renata pick. I feel like Renata pick, the Renata ult is so disgusting on Silas if you can use it. You just
Yeah.
kind of waft it at the enemy team and it forces you to like immediately vacate that spot, right?
Hmm.
Like the whole rest of this team kind of wants to be like playing together and grouped up, and like Renata ult going on your team feels absolutely terrible. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm not a fan of this champion. Her like entire power budget of basically her entire kit is thrown into the ultimate and into bailout. Like her other two abilities, like sure they're useful, but like they're not really real abilities. That's why I'm just not a fan of this pick. Yeah, I don't feel like the
Hmm.
bailouts are all that valid, like you said. Again, I feel like Ice have just kind of fallen for the tilt thing. We've shown for all 4 games, 5 games, I guess now, or 6, I guess we can say even including this week, that KTL is playing Mage's bot lane. He has only picked a Mage. I
Yeah.
don't think he's picked a real ADC yet, right?
Hmm.
Um,
I think he might have in one of these games somewhere, probably. Not 100% sure. But yeah, I mean, oh, he did play Senna that one game, but I wouldn't really consider that
yeah,
a classic ADC either. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of not very like it's a lot of mages and weird stuff, like niche stuff
yeah.
that you wouldn't typically see it that often. Senna is a pick that is pretty strong right now, though. So not surprised at all to see like that being picked and banned out in these drafts. But yeah, I mean, overall, I do tend to agree with you. I do think that Tilt does have a pretty favorable draft on their hands as long as they don't get wombo comboed by like uh, Renata ult into Cyclone into like the Equalizer. Like as long as that doesn't happen, their fight looks pretty good. But we'll see how team fights end up going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's that much else that we really need to discuss here. I think we might have to send it to just a quick break here because we've had some draft shenanigans of some missed bans and things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll just send it to a quick break, guys. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes for this game 2 action. We'll see if Tilt can close out a 2-0 week or if Ice is going to send us to a third game. Don't go anywhere.
And on to the Rift we go for game two of this series between Tilt Witnesses and Iceborn Bums. The classic rollouts coming through across the board. Everyone just going to the normal spots here that we see quite often in Season 16. We'll see if Tilt is able to bring home a 2-0 sweep or if Iceborn has something to say about last game and bring it to a third.
Yep, there comes the customary ping fest of who can get 5 gold the quickest. No pre-pingers there, I noticed. No one really on the next level to secure that money for themselves, but just see junglers starting on the same side this game, both starting on their red buff, so neither going to be pathing down towards the immediate dragon spawn here. Both of these junglers pretty known for just farming as much as possible pre-6. Doubt we're really going to see any ganks or anything big coming out from them.
Hmm.
I feel like bot lane is basically the only place where we might see something happening, but is a mage bot, so the wave clear at the first couple levels isn't really anything to write home about.
Yep. So it is going to be a pretty similar situation to last game, but uh, this time the bot lane of Zaya and Renata is not going to be able to poke out the bot lane of Tilt like the Caitlyn was able to do so, as a pretty decent chunk of damage coming through here early on to KTL as he uses the E variant of the Q. Level 2 is hit first by Iceborn though, and the handshake not thrown out quite yet. Jed gonna be forced to burn the cleanse, finds a lot of damage with the pullback of the feathers, forces Oral's heal.
Yeah, I mean that's a win there. We can see the immediate tri-brush ward placed there as well by Cool Jace. Have no real idea where Fisher is. Want to make sure they can keep themselves safe,
Hmm.
and looks like they're really wanting to keep this pressure up here. We do see that they do have a CS lead right now, right? This wave is getting shoved into tower. There's a
Yep.
pretty good trade in the mid. Oh, that's a kill, isn't it?
Ignite ticking, yeah, is gonna secure the solo kill for Indigo, and it's gonna be a Tilt solo later, finding a first blood on a solo kill again.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was just a trade. I was like, he's just chunking about. That's
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
be anything. And I was like, oh wait, that did enough.
Yep. Incredible stuff from Indigo, just really knowing the damage limitations of his champion as Jed now pulled in, taking so much damage, but KTL not having that much damage quite yet. Hui hit that huge damage spike once he gets the Blackfire Torch, but until then, not going to be able to do the huge amount of burst the champion is known for. So Jed able to get away with getting hit by these hooks early on.
Yeah, the sad emo boy needing a lot of time to scale up. Not having the greatest base damages either. That's why you don't see him that much towards the bot lane a lot compared to a
Hmm.
lot of other mage variants that you see. Like the kind of classics of Karthus and Ziggs and things like that. But
Yeah.
still does respectable damage down here in the bot lane. Um, Again, we're going for this Sapphire Crystal boots back, which is very, very strange to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the movement speed is just nice in general, to have in your back pocket, especially to dodge those Renata E's that she will be throwing out quite often as Weatherneck, taking a pretty extended exchange against Chudsing, and that's exactly what you don't want to do in this Galio versus Rumble matchup. You want to take those short trades and just get out as KTL, rooted up by the Blade Caller, but Cool J's handshake is gonna find a minion as KT is just gonna look to clear out this wave again, and oh, Weatherneck actually kills Chudsting for a solo kill up in the top side. So both Tilt solo laners a solo kill apiece now. As we look back to a replay of how this ended up happening, as the Q is just gonna find, he gets the Justice Punch and the taunt, and it's just gonna be a huge burst of damage in a short amount of time to be able to take that takedown.
Yeah, Chudston looking like me in the top lane there and just not knowing damage numbers of anything anymore. I hope that guy has played top lane more than me this season. He should have, considering he is qualified for a league, but that was again just another game and another
Hmm.
thing where I'm just like, wow, that looked seriously int.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Very interesting, though. Something we didn't talk about earlier is Indigo having a tear on his first base as he's falling super low. The Deathfire touch from Potato is gonna chunk out Indigo quite a lot, and that Orb of Deception not gonna find its mark onto Indigo, so it's gonna be able to stay alive. Just now has the Spirit Rush though from the hijack, and now Potato has a Spirit Rush of his own, and Indigo is gonna win out there. 1 HP and a Dream hijacks the Spirit Rush on the faster level 6 timing and just gets the solo kill.
Yeah, wasn't even close, I think is the famous quote from a certain donkey, but Jesus, that feels so bad there from Potato. Getting solo killed twice pre 6 minutes, like, oh, that's bad. Especially in like a matchup that like is pretty favored towards the early game for Ari. It's something that you should be winning this lane matchup, kind of till this big 6 points. So have to
Mhm.
see. Indigo might just spike out of control again this game. His definitely has the start to do it.
Yeah, has the Dark Seal in his inventory as well. Has both summoners available. Didn't have to use either of them
What
in the
a
exchange.
great
Previous
buffer.
finds a huge trade on to Potato. Is going to force out the pots, but Indigo has the refillable, so he's going to be a little bit more healthy here. As both junglers looking to get this Scuttle Crab for the level 6 timer. Patty here, though, spotted. Fisher going forward. The tether is not going to end up connecting as Patty just used the clone to get out as Potato falling super low. The ignite, is it enough? That's
Oh my
Indigo
god.
on a killing spree as another solo kill for the Tiltmanis's mid laner.
There might be a mid diff. Just
Just a little
maybe.
bit, just a little bit. As that's definitely just gonna be first dragon, probably
No, no, no,
going over
no.
to tilt. They're not gonna opt to do it just now, as I mean, Indigo uses both of the summoners there. The summoners that he didn't have to use in the trade previous to just take down Potato. Potato was forced to burn the flash as well, so Indigo just has so many advantages at this point of the game.
Yeah, and again we see Jed buying this early Vamp Scepter. Again is Zaya. I feel like this is really bad because Zaya to me is this champion that you need so much money to come online. Like
Yes,
you're an Essence Reaver ADC, like
yes.
just like Sivir. So I really hate this out of Jed, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like this is really delaying ourselves as well, especially because KTL is
Yep.
not like building damage, right? He's building utility currently.
Mm-hmm.
So have to see
Yeah, I
if
mean,
it maybe
as
like
a wise man once said, just dodge, bro. Like,
yeah.
use those paper bag boots and the MS from that to just dodge the abilities. Um, I really don't like that he's gone for that again. Yeah. As Indigo is doing stuff in the mid lane, as Weatherneck going forward for a quick trade onto Chudsting, gets the taunt, smashes it down once more, but Chudsting really likes these extended trades. Potato does have the Spirit Rush, though, gonna find another Orb of Ascension. Only the first
Oh,
proc, though, as now the ultimate paranoia comes through for Fisher, is gonna be able to clean up that kill. 5 kills on the board for Tilt Witnesses, and a fourth death for Potato Senpai. So that Fox not really worth that much gold anymore at this point in the game.
yeah, I could see that Big Fisher there going for that dive under the tower was rewarded with 183 whole gold.
Yep.
Probably notably, we got an Ultimate Hunter stack or something like that, so that was
Mm-hmm.
probably the real win of doing
Yeah.
that. Didn't have to burn flash either, so that's just free money and everything for ourselves. That is going to lead into this dragon here as well. That's a Chemtech dragon going down. That's at least
Yeah,
useful on
and
like
pretty
certain
good
people.
for
Yeah.
Indigo and Weatherneck on these solo lanes. These solo lanes that are already in pretty winning states. The extra heal and shield power that provides, pretty nice to have. And especially once we get to team fights, when Sky's gonna be ulting onto his team, the shield that's gonna provide is gonna be pretty massive, and a lot of the damage that is gonna come through from Iceborn is gonna be that equalizer and the Ari. So it's gonna be a lot of magic damage, and that is gonna provide a lot of nice buffer though by
Oh,
Indigo going forward with
again.
the chains. Potato falling
Oh
so
my
low,
god.
no ignite. Ignite was just 2 seconds away. Is ready now. If only he had it a couple of seconds earlier, would have been another solo kill. But it would be happy with the trade, the wave, and a couple of more tower plates.
Bro, this guy has not just read the book that is Potato Senpai. Like he is has the library on block. This guy is getting absolutely all of his moves just figured out and countered. These buffers are just so good for Indigo. You have to change
Mhm.
up your timing here as Potato, because it's gonna get you killed again. Like as soon as we get this back in and we get our Chovy belt, there it is finished here.
Yes, Oral gonna be forced to use his flash to get away, and
Oh no, the berserk.
Jace is gonna use the hostile takeover to do absolutely nothing. That's a
Hey,
very slow
he took a
moving.
flay auto. KTL took a
It's
flay auto. That was
it's a
like
very
150
slow
damage.
moving ability that wasn't really gonna cash anyway, and it's such a long cooldown too. So to not have that available on the board anymore is pretty bad for Iceborn, especially with Fisher on this side of the map now. Does have the paranoid back up spotted on the ward, trying to go for a lane gank.
Yeah, but I don't think it's really any opportunity cost. We have our Krugs there,
Yep.
so we lost,
Oh,
like
Spirit
10
Rush going
seconds.
forward for Indigo. That actually might not have been a Spirit Rush.
I
I
think he
think that
just
was
has it.
maybe just
Yeah,
E and
yeah.
Proto Belt. Anyway, he made a lot of distance, so I thought that was a Spirit Rush, but considering he doesn't have the orbs underneath health bar, definitely did not end up using it. It's gonna spot out Patty on these Raptors as well, so knows to be careful around this Raptor pit. Potato Orbit Session not gonna connect onto Indigo. Indigo goes forward now.
Oh
Charm
God.
goes completely wide, flies past my window. As Indigo still being very patient, knows that he doesn't have to be pressured to do anything on Potato as nice chains, but the charm is good from Potato. Now the
Goodbye.
ignite just dropped onto his head. 7 Darksteel stacks for this Silas now as a fight coming out on the top side. Justin gonna be forced to flash away a Cyclone. Good for Patty to get the disengage for Iceborn, and ultimately Iceborn not gonna be able to find anything off the map. Like it's just like a takeover from Indigo and the rest of Tilt as a KTL only down 14 CS in this lane. The classic mage is close to that DFT as well as Oral and the ball lane of Iceborn fighting over Vision in this tri-bush.
Yeah, I feel like this is just absolute disaster. Like Potato is not getting helped out by his
And
team
yeah.
either. Oh, we have a roam from
And
Indigo
yeah,
coming towards
Indigo
bot
still
lane.
has the Spirit Rush. Is actually going to expire just now. So a little bit of unlucky timing. The Spirit Rush just ran out, and that's going to make the play a little bit harder, but a nice fear by KTL onto LL Cool Jace. Tries to flash away, use the heal, but is not going to be enough. So much damage coming out from the side of Witnesses as Patty's going to try to get an exit crab, just try to get anything. Will be able to secure it, but the move is going toward Potato Senpai, who's 2 levels down on Inigo now.
Yeah, oh my God, there's a longsword in our inventory. Are we building Muramana on Silas?
Oh,
Is the
we are building Muramana.
is this my dream crit Silas game? Are we gonna build an Essence Reaver and do Infinity Edge?
Oh my god, imagine. I mean,
I would be
he's
so
so
hyped.
bad at this point. He's
Yeah.
so
Oh
bad at
yeah,
this
this is
point,
the
but I think
game
he
to
could
do
just
it.
build anything, you know?
Yeah.
But
I-
I mean, it's first items coming across the board for the side of Tilt. Everybody except for Oral, poor support economy things is gonna have the first item. Weatherneck stabilize the Rumble matchup is just chilling up there now. With falling behind in CS, but that's how the matchup you expect it to go. Just generally, as the rest of the map for Tilt is just in such a winning state so far.
Yeah, and there's a pink ward here as well, so Oral isn't even spotted. Potato just finishing their mid lane quest
Oh,
here.
nice charm though to cancel the chains, but Indigo going forwards forces the Spirit Rush out from the hook of Oral, and yeah, I mean, it's just so much more ground covered for Witnesses, putting so much pressure on Potato this game.
Yeah, that is a disgusting amount of damage just coming through. You can see the level difference is just mattering so much for Silas. I still believe he is one of the champions in the game that gets the most out of a level up out of any champion in the game in terms of stats as well as
Patty though
cooldowns and things like
evades the
that.
vision, looking for something top, but Weatherneck respects it. Potato here as well. So they're really trying to look to make something happen onto this Galio. But remember, Galio is a lot of magic resist. It might be hard to make a play on this command, as ultimately nothing will come out of it. Sky just plays so incredibly respectfully.
Yeah, I mean, we watched the entire team like walk through like four pink wards towards the mid lane, right? Like, there's
Hmm.
so much vision towards for tilt towards this dragon that they know exactly where Jed and Cool Jace are, and they went, "Hey, the entire enemy team is walking towards topside." So Weatherneck goes, "All right, Roger," and just plays the back of his tower. He's full health. You're not diving that guy as Galio. Giving KTL a whole bunch of
Yep.
time down there in the bot lane to just wail on the tower, picks up 3 plates. This game at 15 minutes is feeling like
Yep.
it might
As we take
be
a look at the
donezo.
gold differential, Indigo up a whopping 2,000 gold 15 minutes into this game, and that's pretty much where the entirety of the Tilt gold lead is coming from so far.
Yeah.
As yeah, Herald gonna be started up here for the side of witnesses. They're just looking to get absolutely everything on the map. Only thing not secured for them was that grubs, but that's not that big of a deal considering the fact that Iceborn has not been able to get onto any of these towers.
Yeah, they got 1 plate in the mid lane and 1 plate in the top lane. But like it's looking so doomed. The Herald's gonna go down here for Fisher, so we now have that access to maybe break this mid lane tower to really even unlock ourselves more towards this next dragon.
Hmm.
We have all the vision bot side just getting started to get cleared out here by Oral as well to reestablish ourselves. This is our TP down here for KTL. But I mean, again, this Ari is equal in levels to our ADC, right? KTL is the same level as Potato Senpai
Yep.
despite being in a dual lane. So that's just all of that advantage gone from that position. Leatherneck as well just seems to be
Oh,
stymieing
and
Chud
play
King.
looking, they're looking toward Potato again. Oral here, flash, flay. The death sentence not gonna find its mark, and Potato just using the spear rush to get out. Nice job there.
Yeah, good play
But now the
there. We
lights getting
see.
turned out. Hero's entrance coming in over the top. Not gonna find anything as the ult from Renata is good. Will get the ball lane of Iceborn out. So it's going to be two ultimates for two ultimates. End of the trade for here as Sky just TPing toward the top side has such a huge shield with the teleport shield and the passive shield as well. So going to be pretty hard to kill that guy as no spirit rush available for Potato, taking so much damage.
This
And
just feels like bullying, bro.
KTL trying to
All
find the kill is not going to be able to do so as a
suffering
Sky
gold.
was shut down in the top side. But Indigo looking for something potentially mid with the Spirit Rush available. Knows that Jet doesn't have ultimate. The bailout is going to come out from Cool Jace. Indigo has another charge as the Spirit Rush goes forward again. Double kill solo Bolo. As he's going to find 2 kills on the bot lane of Iceborn in the mid lane. Uses the Herald Charge to get some more tower plates as well. So that's a very, very rich Silas on our side.
Yeah, good guy Oral as well coming in there just to make sure to steal some of that tower money away from Silas. All of our gold isn't concentrated onto one person.
Yep, up
Uh
3,000 gold now. So the gold lead for Tilt ultimately is only 2K right now, but 3,000 advantage for just Indigo alone in the mid lane.
oh, stop building AP, just build crit. It's so funny, trust me. We can get just build a Shadow Flame, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but Indigo's only going to get stronger no matter what items he builds. 345 on the Manamune, and once that Manamune is fully stacked, he's going to be hitting like a truck as if he didn't already.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, looking potentially for something in the bot side. Proteto's gonna have to respect this. That's a very, very strong Silas. One ability proc off of being off that man immune fully stacked.
Okay, so we're just talking about it's the Indigo show right now here, but what do we
Yeah.
do as Iceborn, right? What is your thought of how do we get back into this game? Because currently this
Uh
just feels like a solo queue game where I'm spamming the surrender vote over and over again.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, Iceborne just has to find some way of getting the wombo of the Cyclone, of the Equalizer, just layered on top of each other. Take out Indigo especially, because that's where a lot of the gold is. Once Indigo is out of the fight, it makes the fight so much easier, but the hard part is taking down that Demacian raid boss. So,
Yeah, I
we'll
mean
see
it's
if they're able to do so.
yeah, I mean it is worth noting Indigo does have flash for this dragon fight. He has whatever his pick of the alt litter of whatever he wants to take. Doesn't have Zonias or anything like that, so he
Mhm.
is like vulnerable in that sense here. KTL maybe gets a play made on him, but it's so hard. There's so much distance that has to be covered. Looks like they're
Yeah,
gonna
they're going
try.
for him. The Cyclone is good. Pulled back by the handshake. But Patty's just going to handshake his life forward. The bailout comes in after KTL's death, so ultimately will end up in a dead monkey. As Oral's just going to solo zone the other members
Oh
away.
my god.
Indigo finds a solo kill on Potato underneath the tower. Ocean Dragon picked up as well. I mean, it's all three of the defensive dragons that have spawned, so the Silas truly is gonna become unkillable. Incredible, incredible stuff. Use the lantern, get out after securing some more tower plates.
Bro, this is just bullying. I really don't know what to say. It's
Yeah.
just getting bullied is Potato Senpai. I
I feel like
honestly
that's
feel
been
kind of
the
bad.
name of the game, right? For
Yeah.
witnesses in every series you've watched, they either been doing the bullying or getting bullied. Granted, it is quite a
Yeah.
low sample size, but it's kind of been just kind of like that and no in between. So, glad to see we're on the
Oh,
side
Chud
of the
Sting.
bullying this time, though, as Chudsting engaged on over the wall, as Will Live, though, drops the
Bucks coming
equalizer
in.
on their head. Patty is here. Inigo just has so much healing, though. He just stood in the equalizer the entire time and out healed it. I think he came out with more health than he like when the equalizer
Yeah.
dropped. I think he came out with more health after using one Kingslayer on Patty. So I mean, this Inigo is just so insanely strong. I don't think there's anything that Iceborn can do at this point. As play happening on the top
Oh
side, we're
no.
bullying this poor
Prot
Ari again.
Potato
Potato forced
Recall,
to
just
burn the
fucking leave, man.
ultimate. Uh,
Bro,
it's so brutal.
oh, they're gonna
Uh,
read. Okay, no, there's no redive coming. Oh, thank God. All right, we're safe.
Okay, Potato lives to see another day. 0-6 and 0, looking to make that 0 and 7, but weren't able to do that on this particular occasion. As I mean, I guess they can do this. Indigo's here and he's really rich. Patty, standing in the bush and getting bullied by the red buff, tries to go in on
Good
Indigo,
play.
but a nice flay from Oral to peel the monkey away. As Big Fisher says, "Thank you. That's my red buff."
All right, Indigo built a responsible item there in the Rift Maker. I'm disappointed in him. One day I will see my crit Silas come to fruition.
Yep.
One day. But as
Yep,
far as like other
that's our very fed member right there that we're
yeah,
zooming in on. As you were saying.
kind of like other like notable items, there's a Mikhail's done here, and Oral's just decided that he's just gonna stick on top of Indigo because he realizes that he's the only guy on his team that matters.
Yeah.
KTL's just kind of solo farming now as this bot lane play. Our soul spawns in 2 minutes here, so don't really think we're going to be playing towards this bot side of the map. Probably just going to play for these top side brushes. Potato, please don't go near that brush.
Oh my god, oh
Okay,
my
thank you.
god.
Thank you. Oh, it's so scary. Bro has run over like 2 pink wards and is just like, yeah, it's fine, whatever, man.
Yeah, I mean, Iceborn looking to claim this mid tower. Fisher is
Oh, the bounty of shame
trying
going
to defend
over.
this, but like definitely can't defend that. Tier 1 gonna be claimed in the top side as Tilt just gonna look for all their resets as they look to get back onto the map for potential Baron play. And Dragon Soul also spawning in minute 30, so that's something to look out for as well.
Yeah, I mean, all of our wards are definitely towards the top side right now is tilt, right? That's where Oral just was laying down all that
Hmm.
vision. So have to see if they want to go for the Baron or if they're just going to try and get this soul to close out. We do see vision is pretty good here from Cool J's. And the side of Iceborns, they do know that all of Tilt are here.
Oh, trusting potentially in danger, forced to cancel the reset. But vision on the Silas means that he's able to get out. Jace, though, trying to keep his vision line up, but when you know that Inigo's in the area, it's just so hard to walk in. As Jace is getting played on, Flay,
Goodbye.
and the chain's gonna come through. Is gonna be able to pop the ultimate though, as Chudsting and Weatherneck both teleporting in. Oh, Jace has
Goodbye.
died. Um,
Get
Cool Jace has died, so that's gonna be
get
the tier
severing
2 going
bolted.
down
Yeah.
from witnesses, and now they look to press on toward this tower and potentially an inhibitor as well. Potato Senpai is still in toward the top side of the map as Weatherneck's super deep under this tower though, and it's a really good. A Cyclone finds its way onto literally everybody, but now Jed picking up a sizable chunk of gold, that huge shutdown off of Indigo, and now the kill from Weatherneck as well. But Fisher looking to go in here. Oral falling super
Oh
low
my
as well,
god,
and
we're
another
throwing.
shutdown going in toward Iceborn. So Potato gets the top side tier 2, and a bunch of shutdowns and kills
And the
going
TP
over
is
to
the hero
Iceborn.
play.
And now the TP at Potato
Come on,
has the ultimate,
Potato.
has the flash. Oral, the first target on this Fox's menu, as now
Oh, we've
um
missed
uh
everything.
uh
Oh, we're still going.
uh
Okay, okay. It wasn't quite the hero play, but he got the kill. That's all that matters, baby. We've
yeah,
rage
okay,
pushed
yeah,
our
uh-huh.
tower down as well. We're getting some fights mid. It's a redemption
And
arc.
yeah, Ocean Dragon picked up for Iceborne as well. Quite a nice consolation prize. Or well, I guess they won the fight, so it's not really a consolation prize. So just a overall nice prize to have. And it stops witnesses from the soul. They went super deep there under the tier 3 for absolutely no reason, and they were just able. Iceborne was able to turn it.
Yeah, I mean, and Jed getting all of your kills is pretty good to accelerate this
Yeah.
Zaya to get them back into the game. You can see 12K now. They have a 2K lead now thanks to all those shutdowns going over to them. That's a
Hmm.
lot of money here. It doesn't really compare to the 3K deficit that their mid laner has, but surely that won't matter. We'll just watch
Yeah,
Indigo
surely not.
dash into him again under a tower. Smile?
Yeah, surely, surely. Uh, with no tower influence, I'm sure Indigo will be a lot more tanky. And as long as there's no 15 Zaya feathers behind us, definitely a good look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still a lot on the map to play for. The Baron up now still hasn't been taken by either side thus far, as Oro looks like control over the vision once again to set this up. But Fisher
Fisher?
pretty far forward. Spell Shield is good, but the Cyclone coming through from Patty is gonna end up falling though, as it's gonna be the first kill of the fight going over to Weatherneck. Tries to dive forward onto Jed, forces out the Feather Storm, so the crucial cooldown down from the Zaya, as Inigo will
On the
arrive
flank?
shortly on the flank. Spotted on the vision now. They have noted him and will be forced to back out of the space. The Zaya not having ultimate makes this fight so much more lethal for Tilt, as the Baron's going to be started up. No jungler for Iceborne, so if they want to contest this, they have to contest without having the smite button available. But Weatherneck, that big tanky Goliath in the front, is going to be the one standing forward, as Potato going to be forced to burn the ultimate. Inigo picks up a Spirit Rush with the hijack though, and it's a lot of danger pings coming out for Iceborne, like just on top
We're
of
not
Inigo's head, as
flipping this, are
Potato
we?
goes forward with the Spirit Rush. Inigo going forward as well. And now the Equalizer drop doing so much damage to Oral and Fisher. Inigo taking a lot of damage from Baron as well. So the Baron doing so much work as Fisher finally gets the smite onto it. But Chudsting potentially finding a kill, not going to be able to do so. Tilt going to look to get their way out of here. Is Iceborne going to be able to find a way to cancel any of these recalls, taking down any of these low members, but it will not look like such, and it's going to be Tilt who gets out of there with all 5 members having the Baron.
Bro, that was a terrible sequence from Tilt. I'm not gonna lie. Like, sure, we got the Baron and everything, but we did a lot of stuff wrong in that. We stood in the equalizer, we all ran through it. That felt like a really close play when it shouldn't. Despite all of this gold they have onto Indigo and how fed he is, there's only a 1.5K gold lead, right? Like, the rest of
Yeah.
this team is not like that far ahead. They cannot just bully their way through these plays like they are making.
Hmm.
So we'll have to see if the end of this game can get cleaned out. But it's worth noting. Okay, never
Oh,
mind. Maybe we
and
just kill
Jace has
everyone.
just been killed. Oral will burn the
Uh,
uh,
per-
the
okay.
Mikhails to keep himself alive, and it is going to be Tilt sieging with these Baron minions. Jed going to be able to take down a bunch of them though, and it's going to slow down the siege just that little bit extra, as Jace is a support, so he will be up quite shortly, pretty short death timer. So as long as nobody else on Iceborn dies, Tilt might not be able to capitalize off of this that much. But two waves crashing in both the mid and the top, looking to get some inhibitors off the table as Jay spawning in 2 seconds. So Iceborn would be able to look for something if they wish to do so. Basically taking a lot of damage here from Weatherneck on the bot side as a charm coming through onto Oral falls super low as well. Tilt gonna have to just abandon this play and come back another time.
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of stalling, waiting for themselves to get this ocean soul, which means they can actually just stick around forever on the map afterwards. There is 40 seconds till it spawns here. They've dropped a whole bunch of vision towards the spot side of the map. They got some like decent chunks onto these towers, but yeah, you can just see Zaya's kind of able to like step up for free as Jed, especially
Mm-hmm.
with this cleanse about to be up. They have the blade collar, they have the Renata
KTF
bailout.
stepping up super far. Patty doesn't look to go for the snap, as Inigo does have that fully completed Zhonya's now as Jace, the one caught out by the death sentence once more. A hero's entrance going to come through for Sky as he's now the engage going to come through on to Patty as Patty falls really low. Cyclone just keeps him alive that little bit longer. Patty, the bailout going to keep him alive again. Ultimately will end up falling, but it's a pretty positive fight for Iceborn so far. But Jed flashes forward, tries to find the finishing touch onto KTL, will not be able to do so, and will end up falling. And it's just going to be Tilt winning this game away. Jed honestly had the potential to win that fight for Sky. Okay.
It's the celebratory fountain dive. It's just a little early. You wouldn't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Jed honestly could have probably won that team fight for his team, but decided to flash forward into KTL's face to try to take down the Hui, and just ended up taking a huge chunk of damage to the face once he was in melee range. So ultimately ended up falling, and what could have been a pretty scary sequence ends up being a 2-0 victory for Tilt.
Yeah, mid diff, I guess. Good job,
Yeah.
Indigo.
Good job, Indigo.
I, yeah, I'm just kind of in disbelief
Holy damage chart. A
that we
holy
let
damage
that game
chart.
get that bad.
Yeah, I mean, even with Inigo being like as fed as he was and how like much advantage we had in the mid lane, it did look pretty rough in terms of just getting to a spot where we could close the game out. So definitely something that needs to be refined, but a great showing here for Witnesses and Inigo here, especially tonight.
Yeah, big win from them. So I'm excited that Tilt is picking up these wins. I feel like there's definitely some work we can do to make sure that we're going to be able to dominate in the playoffs and maybe match that Lotus team that we played. I feel like they're
Hmm.
definitely one of the favorites for this
Yes.
league.
And yeah, and overall, like with this series too, a pretty productive week for Tilt. Very, very strong showing across the board for all the teams this week. So, love to see it. A lot of victories on the board this week. Just something so great to see when you have this many teams entered and they're all doing really good. So, yeah, a great job by Witnesses to cap off excellent week.
Yeah. And I mean, next Friday they are going to be playing. Who is it in their group? They're playing the Sin team, the Centennial team, who
Ah,
also has not won a game so far. I don't know. They haven't played their series this evening, but might
mhm.
be another tilt win next week. If anything, the standings kind of support that claim.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to some more Friday action next week, but some upcoming things to look forward to next week. We'll have streams for you once more. There will be no Tuesday stream next week and no Monday stream as well, most likely. The Tuesday stream is because Eclipse does have, they did secure the fourth seat. Oh no, we will have a Tuesday stream. It won't be Eclipse though. It will just be the AML debut of Tilt-A-Whirl. Um, Eclipse does have that bye for securing the fourth seed this week in the seeding stage, so they have a first round bye. We'll be streaming them the week after that for their first BO5 in BOL Emerald. But as for the rest of next week, streams Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thank you for a lovely week here at Tilt Productions. We'll see you next week.